Hello and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to be making stir fry. Just a generic, run-of-the-mill, easy to make stir fry. First thing you're going to need is a wok. I use a cast iron one. You can use one of the very cheap steel ones, or the even cheaper seems to be non-stick ones. All of them work about the same. Cast iron one, just my preference. You can use whatever you want. You will also need a knife and a cutting board. We can't cut up the vegetables without them. You will also need a spatula. Maybe you want a splatter screen. And you'll need some rice. Stir fry sauce. I personally use the Kinkoman stir fry sauce. But any of the other brands will do. Just don't use pure soy sauce. You need something a bit sweet, a bit salty, and a bit more savory than just what soy sauce has. Soy sauce is nothing but salt. Now on to the actual foods. You'll need 2 to 3 heads of broccoli, 1 bell pepper, and an onion. Now for the meat. You can go with what I did and buy 1 pound of chicken breasts, or you can go with about 1.5 pounds of shrimp or 1 pound of beef. It doesn't really matter which one you choose. It's your preference. Now I also like my stir fry kind of sweet. So I bought a can of pineapple chunks. You can do this with fresh pineapple, or you can do this with these pineapple chunks, or circular pineapple. But do not buy crushed pineapple. It just ends up being too much liquid, and then it overwhelms all the rest of the flavors in your dish. The way I'm cooking my stir fry is separating all the ingredients into 2 halves. That way it's enough for me and my wife and a leftover lunch. But if you wish, you can combine all the ingredients into 1 big stir fry to serve 4 to 6 people. I'm going to be using my rice cooker to cook my rice. But if you do not have a rice cooker, you should click on the link right there to watch a video on how to cook my rice. You should cook your rice, start cooking your rice just before you start cutting up your vegetables. That will give you enough time to cut up your vegetables and for the rice to be fully cooked before your main dish is done. We're going to start today by cutting up all the vegetables, starting with our onion, then our pepper, then our broccoli. I'd recommend keeping a garbage can nearby because you will need a place to throw all the extra rinds and stems that you do not want to put in your stir fry. I'm separating all my stir fry ingredients into 2 piles, 1 for today and 1 I can put a lid on and serve later in the week. Most of these ingredients will stay fresh in the fridge for a couple days without going bad. We want to remove the skin from our onion and then dice it into little tiny chunks. About, I don't know, big as your thumbnail or so. That way, the flavor of the onion spreads throughout the dish. Next thing we're going to do is cut up our pepper. Make sure it's washed, and then take your knife and just go along the outside edge, slowly rotating it. This should remove most of the seeds without needing a second washing of the inside. Thus leaving us the seed pod and most of the flesh. And just whack out all the extra seeds you don't want. And we're going to do the same thing to this as we did to the onion. Now we're going to cut up just the leafy parts of the broccoli. I was just imagining me being a giant chopping down the tiniest forest ever. I don't know how many of you do that, or how common that is, but if that's something you do, leave me a comment below. I want to know about it. Now if you like your broccoli very small, you can bust them up with your hands, like so that they're more manageable pieces. Now for food safety, I have to recommend that you cut up your chicken on a separate cutting board than the one you cut up your vegetables on. But since this is the last time I'm going to be using this cutting board, I think I can get away with cutting the chicken on it. We want to cut up our chicken into about 1-inch cubes. That way, everything cooks nice and evenly all the way through. For those of you who are using a rice cooker, the next step comes after you've started your rice. Or, if you're using just the regular old steam it in a pot method, it is after you've put the lid on to let it finish steaming. The next step will involve us using some regular old vegetable oil and coating the bottom of our wok. Lightly coat the bottom of your wok with the vegetable oil and then turn the heat on medium to medium high. The next thing we do is wait. We wait for the wok to heat up. That way, when we put our chicken in, it starts to cook immediately. If it doesn't start to cook immediately, we should pull the chicken out and wait till the wok heats up to a proper temperature. Next thing we do is add the chicken or beef. If you're using shrimp, you can do this all together with your vegetables. But we want the chicken or beef to cook thoroughly so that there's no chance of anyone getting sick. Doesn't that sound good? Once your meat's brown on all sides, then you can throw in your vegetables. If you're adding pineapple, wait till a little bit later to do that, and I'll show you when. Toss your vegetables lightly in the oil before you add your sauce. You can add as much or as little as you want. I tend to add about half of this 12-ounce bottle, but you can add what you feel is right. The next step for me is to drain our can of pineapple. We don't need the juice, and if you put it in there with the stir fry, it will overpower it. If you're doing it like I am, and only using half of the vegetables today, only use half the can. If you're doing everything all at once, you can use the whole can. Now our next step is to wait. We toss everything about a couple more times and make sure it's all thoroughly cooked. But if your rice cooker or the way you've been making rice is the same as I have, both of them should be done at about the same time the stir fry is done. Just a couple things while this is simmering. If you have any questions about this video or any other ones I have done, feel free to leave me a comment down below. I try to respond back to them as soon as I can. If you are looking for a written version of this recipe, it's in the description. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. When your stir fry is finished, the vegetables should be cooked all the way through. The pineapple, if you use it, should be soft. So should the broccoli, but the stem should be slightly hard. Serving this dish hot over rice turns out to be a great combination. And if you like this dish, make sure to keep adding flavors as you wish. You can add fresh herbs or spices, and in different vegetables such as bamboo shoots or water chestnuts. They all turn out great. Well, I'll catch you next time, and don't forget to be awesome.